Hi, I'm Derek Hilton, and my channel is all about photographing and filming wildlife. Now, what have I got in store for you today? Let's take a look. Well, hi and welcome to my office after a very long, cold, wet winter. If it wasn't raining, it was drizzling. If it wasn't drizzling, it was fog with very low temperatures of 2 degrees. So getting out into the reserve to film wildlife or to reviews or whatever on YouTube has been impossible. But here I am, finally, in spring, getting out, talking about the UX180. Now, it's not really a review, it's a look at how I've been going with the camera for the last 7 months. There's some faults with the camera and I've come up with some solutions, and I'd like to share my experience of how I've gone about fixing some of these problems, some emails I sent off to Panasonic, talk about some of the things that I really love about the camera. Alright, so let's start with the lens hood. Who wouldn't love to have a lens hood like that? Open, close. So quick and easy to set up and pack up. It also means I'm not going to have to clean that lens so much because I'm not touching it with my fingers, struggling, trying to put a cap on, which happened with the camera that you're looking at me through right now, and that's Canon's XF300, which I will be relating to a little bit. This lens is still as clean as the day that I bought the camera. The day that it turned up on my doorstep, beautiful and clean, and it still is. And it's all because no fingers touching it. It's going to look after that lens for its lifetime, I would say. Who knows when I'll have to get that experience of cleaning the lens. That'll be exciting, won't it? One of the things that I don't have an issue with is touchscreen. It's fantastic, so quick and easy to fly around the menu. It's almost as quick as a mobile phone, but it's tap. We can't scroll and flick. It's strictly tap. And that goes with focusing as well. Now, the area focusing on this camera, touch screen, where we can move that focus square wherever we like. We can also shrink it down if we like for more detail work in a small part of our framed subject, freeing us up endlessly. It's just fantastic. Flying around the menu with this touchscreen monitor is just fantastic. I use different buttons for during the day that I'll assign them to different things, and I reconfigure them at night for infrared shooting. Being able to do that is non-fuss. It's quick, easy, routine for me now. It's just so fast. The actual lens itself, the Leica lens, I'm liking it to a certain point. I always go looking for faults on cameras, checking out whether there's distortions and all those sort of things, so I know its limitations. I only found a little bit around the edges in certain situations. It's only probably me that would notice it. No one else watching a clip would probably even see it. But fully out at its widest point, yeah, every lens is going to have some form of distortion, but it's very light on it. We get a slight touch of chromic aberration. I've been looking hard for it, and finally I found it. So it has a slight touch of it. Not a lot, but the coatings that are on there aren't quite good enough. So that red ring should come off in my point of view. If you've got chromic aberration, no matter how strong or light it is, on that lens, don't put a red ring around it saying it's an L lens, because it's not, my opinion. Yeah, the sensor in this camera is pretty well underpowered, cheaply made. I'd say that it's a consumer grade sensor. We don't get really good detail out of full HD. It's a long way behind the XF300 that has true to life detail. It's beautiful. The fur on the Agile Antechinus that I film is just beautiful. It's, yeah, true to life. With this, it's no matter how much you muck around in post, you can't get it sharp and bring that detail back. It's just impossible. The only way that I can combat that is using Ultra HD. A lot more detail, a little bit more than the XF300, just a tad. And then I can take that into post and put it onto a 1080 timeline. So reducing down its resolution, but it holds up pretty well. So I'm pretty lucky with that. The other issue I have is slow motion. Horrible, unusable, unsellable. Terribly milky looking, lack of detail, lots of artifacts. So I thought about how can I get around this? How can I get something out of this camera that would be usable? Don't forget that this camera has over and under cranking, and it goes up to 50 frames per second, which is half of slow motion. It's not going to be all that slow, but it's something. So I gave it a go, and here's a few clips. Now it's very clean, very smooth. No, it's not ultra slow, but it's enough to get a reasonably good slow motion. There's other ways that we can increase that in post. Unfortunately for me at this moment, I'm using Premiere Pro CS6, which doesn't have a program in it for slow motion. So the ability to be able to add an extra frame to smooth things out so you can push it a fair way. The new CC versions of Premiere Pro have that capability. But at the minute for me, I'm stuck with what I've got, which is speed and duration in Premiere Pro. Having a play, pushing it to its limit, I can go 20% slower. That's it. Push it anymore, it starts to get blurry. And here's the clip that I played around with. So it's nice, it's smooth, I haven't pushed it too far. It's a usable, sellable product. Even though Fine HD doesn't have a hell of a lot of detail, it's enough for slow motion. I'm reasonably happy with it. That's how I worked around one of the problems. Let's have a look at one of the other problems. Oh, and before we do, my last review, I'd sent a letter off, or an email off to Panasonic about my concerns with slow motion and a noisy fan. And here's an excerpt of that clip. Regarding the soft picture in 100 frames per second mode, due to the speed limit of the sensor, the picture resolution will be lower than expected. So unfortunately, this cannot be improved. Alright, so it just sort of proves everything to me from their reply that it's a cheap sensor, but yeah, we knew that. Wish I could actually pull the sensor and the chip out and replace it with a much better one. I wish every camera manufacturer would do that. It seems to be heading that way. We keep hearing things about this, and I think they really need to do it. I would much rather pay maybe another $1,000 and put a fantastic chip in and a fantastic sensor to push this camera further. Alright, let's have a look at the reply to my email about the noisy fan. Hi Derek, the factory agreed that the fan noise will be picked up by the onboard microphone, especially recording in a quiet environment. To minimise the noise, an external shotgun microphone is strongly recommended. Well, it's pretty ridiculous in my opinion that all they're saying is bad luck, mate. Not, oh, we're looking into that. Might change the fans if you bring them in and put a much quieter one in. Nah, you're stuck with it, mate. That's it. That's all you're getting. Oh, so frustrating. Slow motion and a noisy fan dragged this camera down, right down to consumer. Panasonic, don't call this a professional camera. Yes, it's got some fantastic professional bits around it, but you've let us all down. As I've said before, this could have been your bestseller for 2017, but you blew it with a crappy sensor and a noisy fan. Right, so this is what I've done so far to try and combat a noisy fan, because I can't use the onboard microphone. It picks it up. Doesn't matter whether I'm out in the bush or at home inside. Small room, big room, you can hear it. Here's a clip. Alright, so I made a plate to try and raise it up and brought it back a little bit, but still picking it up. I originally had it a bit more over here and it was a little bit quieter. I'm going to raise this up a lot more, probably about there, and bring it over to the middle to get away from the exhaust fan there. So it should help a lot. But I have to keep it out of the way of my infrared light for night shooting. So they're a bit of a pain. But for doing interviews like I'm doing right now, because I am going to sell my XF300 very soon, put it on the market and hopefully someone buys it so I can get an Animus Ninja Inferno or something like that. Yeah, I've got to solve this problem, because not having the XF300, it's great for interviews like this. I'm using the microphone on the camera, not an external one. And can you hear a fan go? No. On this, it's just, I don't even know why they bothered putting it in. You can't use it. It just makes this camera not as versatile as I was hoping it was going to be. Lightweight, super slow motion, infrared. But then, yeah, lightweight and really portable for hacking around the scrub. We'll work on that and we'll come up with another solution using an external microphone. Alright, so that's enough of talking about bloody shitty fans and microphones that are picking up noise. Let's talk about infrared. It sort of saved this camera from being thrown back at Panasonic. I thought about it for a couple of seconds, but no, look, the infrared on this camera is pretty good. Now there's no low light capabilities at all with this camera. So how I can use this camera now, because it's got infrared, This is how it works. I'm in good lighting and it starts to drop off. This camera has a different setting besides gain. It's called high sensitivity. Now, normal sensitivity would give you the equivalent of 6 dB of gain, and high sensitivity would be about 12 dB of gain. So it's very helpful. So that means I can just push the camera a little bit more into that bad sort of light, and as that starts to drop off when we get noise, I've got a gap of about half an hour or so before it's safe enough to put the infrared filter on. Now, I don't need to put a light on at this stage. There's plenty of light still coming in to keep away noise, and it's nice and clean. So I can continue for quite some hours without stopping filming, avoiding problems with lighting, our exposure. Alright, now for infrared, we can use whatever resolution we like, whatever frame rate we like, so we're not tied up in that area. That's good, being able to keep the detail, I'm not having to worry about staying in full HD. Ultra HD, this camera is just stuck in all the time to keep the detail. Now, I did have a very small light for starters, because I really didn't know much about infrared lights, and I didn't know where to get them from. So I got an El Cheapy that would go for 5 hours, but I had to have it a metre away from the subject, which means it's off the camera, making me stuck where I am. If something happens around me, it's a major operation to try and get it, and it'll be gone before I do. So I needed a light that would be on the camera, and be strong enough for me to stay back 3 metres. That's where I like to stay back, keep away from my subject, let it go about its thing naturally. Alright, so after some hunting and listening to some reviews on YouTube, mainly with actual telescopes for guns, a company name came up, but this particular video that I watched said that they made all sorts of infrared lights. Now, the company's called Ghost Lights, and it's just amazing range that they have. This is a 15 watt, it'll do 150 meters of really good light, but because of this cheap sensor that's in there, it can't utilize the power that has. Really good lighting is at 3 meters, so it's normally how I would film. Like I said, anyway, I get a more than 2 meters wide from this, and it penetrates quite well further back. Now, as I'm walking along the trails here at night, I'll come across different sorts of animals like possums and sugar glider possums, and I can film them at a reasonable distance, so no more than 7 meters for this camera with this light. And normally it might be 5 meters anyway that I'm seeing a possum on a branch or whatever, or an owl, and I can film them nicely with reasonably good clean image. There might be a little bit of noise in the black areas. So in the future I'll get the 30 watt one. That will give me really good power at 10 meters, maybe even a bit more, which will be an enormous help to me. Right, so that's enough about lights, but yeah, great little light if that's what you're looking for. Back to the camera itself. Shall we wrap it up? Yeah, I've been talking and carrying on enough, haven't I? So much to really like about this camera. I can't love it because of that bad sensor, noisy fan. I would love to be able to love this camera, but I can't. I like it. It's lightweight. Throw it around everywhere. Great lens hood. Great touch screen. Some really good tools in there to use. Yes. Panasonic. I'm really pissed off with you. This is supposed to be my everything camera, but yet again it doesn't exist. It's closer than I was before, but yeah, there you go. I've said enough about this camera. Love to love it, but I can't. If you'd like to subscribe and get notification when I do anything else, click on the subscription button down below. Go on, I know you want to. And if you want to have a look at all the things I've been doing over the years, really, all this YouTube stuff for me is about practicing at speaking to the camera. Go and have a look at all my other stuff. Click on my icon down below there, take you to my channel. There's about 50 something videos on there. There must be something there of interest to you. And just remember, if you don't do, you don't get. So get out there and start photographing and filming wildlife. See ya. Always get people sneaking up behind me.